Coffee with Cannon, whatever you want to call it. Beautiful day today. It started out a little bit hazy. Here I am. I'm sitting. I don't know if you could see my pool. I tried to get so you could, but I'm a little further back now. That's all right. We want to. This isn't about the pool. This is about talking to you guys. I don't know if many of you guys saw the show last night. I thought it was. I thought it was pretty well done. Tina Wright, hello, hello, hello. Daisies Forever. Wow. I love that. I love that title, Daisies Forever. So we had Father's Day, right, on the 18th, and yesterday, Tuesday, the 19th, was nice red umbrella. Tina Wright likes it. Blondie. Carmelita is back. Carmelita, dance a little higher. Rosalita, stand just by my side. Shalane Thomason, hello, legal-minded friends. Karen, good to see you, all the way from England. Isn't that amazing? All the way from England, Karen shows up. Rachella, out eating lunch, good to see you. Carmelita loves when I sing to her. Wendy Kraft, good afternoon. Yeah, I thought it was a really good show last night. I think we all, myself, Mike Geary, Professor Mike, and straight out of Brooklyn, Phil Grimaldi, we really needed to do a show. This gets into your bones, into your system, and when you don't get on the air, you so miss it. And it's like just like communicating with you guys. It's a great thing to be able to. I realized I didn't even have my mic. Now it should be better. Kim Allison, Kim, thank you, and thank you for everything you do, Kim. She's Kim, if you guys don't know, who's one of our greatest moderators, one of our greatest supporters. She's always supporting us in the chat, and I really, really appreciate it. We've been on this struggle, this uphill climb towards 50,000 subscribers, and I think, 500 and change, maybe 550, 560 from 50,000. Angelia Donna was a great show last night. I watched on replay, had to work. Great, thank you so much. Lieutenant Pete is in the house. The great Lieutenant Peter Pranzo, street crime and 3-2 precinct fame. I'm getting these spiders coming down. Cheryl is in the house. Good to see everybody. Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on. And I'll segue. Charles, hi, Sergeant Mill. Hope you're having a good day. I went to the gym early. I was a little bit lazy. You ever get those days where you go to the gym? Legal-minded friends, Karen Bill must say it's a difficult swim across the pond, but I try. Well, thank you. Thanks for being here always. You ever have those days where you go to the gym and you just don't have it? And one of the worst things you could start doing in the gym to ruin your mojo is to start getting in conversations with people. Because then you just get you get out of the workout mode and you get in the conversation mode and you get lazy. Emma Murphy was that from Ireland. Great to see. We used to have a lot of people watching this show from the Emerald Isle, and all of a sudden it disappeared. Was it something I said? I hope not. Now we hope that, yeah, Tina Wright, I try to do abs first because I hate doing abdominals, but you don't want that big belly as you get older. Tina Wright says sit-ups are not her friend. I don't think doing abdominal exercises are anyone's friend, but they're very necessary. Everything you do, especially you notice all this stuff as you get older. How many things do you think you use your abs for? Getting out of a chair. Notice that your abdominal muscles tighten up. And this is no way workout with Bill. This is Coffee with Cannon, backyard beverage. Core, Carmelita hit it right on the button. Core is everything. It's true. As they started saying that years ago, I was like, what is this? This is a new workout term, core. What is this crap, Carmelita, planks are amazing. Yes. Look, they come up with all work. Exercise is a science. It's absolutely a science, right? But you got to do what you can. I can't do the same workout I did 10 years ago. I can't do flat bench press anymore because both my shoulders are riddled with arthritis, and that's why I stopped playing golf. I swing a club and I'm like, oh, screaming in pain, So I don't want you guys to hear my ailments, but you got to work out. Tina, I watched a little bit of Duty Ron last night. I'm actually Thursday. I'm going to the reception for Barbara Butcher's book, the book coming out, and it's in Brooklyn. So I got to drive to the bowels of Brooklyn to go, and Duty Ron's going to go too, and I believe Detective Phil, straight out of Brooklyn. He's already in Brooklyn. I think he's going to meet me there. So we're looking forward to it. We love Barbara Butcher. Carmelita, right. As we age, we got to change our workout, but it's very important. And I'll get off this workout topic because I know I might be boring some people that don't work out, but it's so important to exercise and to work out, and especially as you get older, because now you can use other muscles that maybe you weren't using when you were younger because you need to do certain things. Anyway, all right, let me get off that topic. Rachella's in the house. Rachella's out to lunch somewhere beautiful, I'm sure, on the North Shore of Long Island, and there's a beautiful day, and you guys could just go to the beach because you're so close. And Catherine Musa, know what shoulder pain is? Yes, and I try to ignore it when I can, but you know, in fact, I think like 2 or 3 years ago they wanted to do a replacement shoulder on my left shoulder, and I saw what was entailed. I said, no, I'll put up with the pain. And you know, maybe, you ever think this? Everyone hears about, and I'll just cover this a little bit, then I'll get off this topic. Everyone hears about stem cells, and that's going to be like the huge breakthrough of the 21st century as far as relieving pain. And they're already doing it in some countries, but they're doing it in this country too, but it's not, your insurance won't pay for it. So how would you like to go and have shots of stem cells go to your shoulder or to your knee or whatever and get a bill for $10,000? I don't think most of us can afford to pay that, although a lot of us could use that, you know. I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, and he talks about it all the time. Stem cell injections, and supposedly it's some people say it's amazing, and it does miracles to arthritis and to joints and all this other stuff. So anyway, so let's get back to the topic of the day. 78 in the chat, 26 with the thumbs up. You know, one of the things I was very happy with last night, lead singer Ichabod, the police should not have to face AR-15. Lead singer Ichabod, I've never seen you before in this chat, but welcome. I'm not going to cover what you want to cover. We actually do have a topic for today, and it's sort of a continuation of last night with the Brian Kohberger defense in the Idaho quadruple, Ethan Chapin, Zaina Konodal, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves. And some of the moves that the defense is making, to me, and we discussed it last night. Tina Wright, I have heard nothing about Summer Wells. There is no new information, and I understand that we're up on 2 years. I always felt, and I still feel to this day, that the answer to all of that, of course, is Don and Candace Wells. I think that is the answer. Pablo Cicada, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Deb Galloway, Susie Bluski, hi Bill, God bless, from the UK. A lot of people from the UK here. Always good to see the people from across the pond. Good to see you from across the pond. I said pound almost, I meant pond. From the pond, but you are across the pond and you're coming over to USA. We're so glad we're living in the USA. Guntersville Girlwood, hello from Alabama. Alabama. Wow, that's a great state. Alabama. Great football team. The Crimson Tide, right? Alabama. Georgia's pretty damn good too. Lisha Gallegos, I miss you sing, Bill. Love you when you sing. Lisha, great to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Vicky O'Quinn, good to be here. Thank you. 89 in the chat. 90 in the chat. 39 with the thumbs up. Guys, let's equal it out. Let's get some more thumbs up. Let's do those thumbs up, right? So back to the Idaho case we were talking about. Ann Taylor, who is the defense attorney for Brian Kohberger, she's, I think, doing what we referred to last night as a stall. I think she's stalling. I think in no way is the defense ready to go to trial on October 2nd. And we voiced our opinions on that, saying that we don't think there's any way in the world that this case is going to go to trial on October 2nd. However, even if it does not go to trial on October 2nd. Martha Miner, no, I don't think. Martha asked, do I think that the Kohberger case could not go on trial to 2025? No, I don't think that's going to. I think absolutely 2024, but no, I don't see it being put off that long. I don't think any judge would allow that. You know, some people said in the chat last night, people were blaming the prosecution for this sort of delay. And I want to remind everybody that at the arraignment, do you remember this, guys, that the defense waived the speedy trial? Do you remember? They waived that. So how could anyone blame it on the prosecution? Alicia Gallegos, thank you for the belated Happy Father's Day. I really appreciate that. I take being a father very seriously, as all fathers should. And I think your duties as a father don't end once your kids become adults. I think you're still got to be a father, and you still got to be a teacher, and you still got to be an advisor, and you still got to be a person that your kids can come to, because they'll always be your kids. Your kids can come to for advice, right? For wisdom, hopefully. Sometimes for money. Even though my kids sort of don't ask for it, but they're very happy when they get it, you know. And Tina Wright, you're so right. Fathers are role models, and, you know, hopefully you're a good role model, you know. There's an old expression, do as I say, not as I do, and that doesn't fly with anyone in the human species. Humans copy the actions of people that they admire and that they want to be like. Cocoa Puff Bear, yo, Sergeant Bill, love that. Legal Minded Friends is in the chat. And Legal Minded Friends just said they waived their right to a speedy trial. Karen, thank you. A lot of people don't realize that, and people are blaming this stalling and the fact that the prosecution did a secret grand jury. And a lot of people, I noticed in the chat last night, were trying to blame the prosecution as to why this case is dragging along, because the grand jury was secretive. And guys, again, I feel like I'm saying this a million times. Every grand jury is secretive. It's a secret. Grand jury proceedings are secret. Now, some private jet is flying over my house. We're close to Westchester Airport, so these captains of industry fly their private jets over my house. Not just my house, over this neighborhood. Pauline Buckles, the defense needs time, lots of time. Yeah, I think you're right. Lovebug53, hello. Guys, we're at 97. How come we're not busting over into 100? This is Coffee with Cannon, Backyard Beverage, Bitchin' with Bill, Coffee Cuffs and Crime, or what was it? Crime Cuffs and whatever Lula Morocco named it. I can't never totally remember that. The show's named so many things, I want to burden you guys with remember. We just know it as Coffee with Cannon. The love of God, the defense is doing their job, defending, nitpicking, still believing in justice. Look, beaching with Bill, that's right, or bitching with Bill, whichever one you want to say. You know, I just want to say something, and it's sort of ad nauseum. Not everyone, a lot of people will always say, oh, you've got him convicted already. And look, I can repeat 1,000,000 times that Brian Kohberger is innocent to proven guilty. That is our system. That is the court system in which we deal with. That is our system of jurisprudence in this country. And he has the presumption of innocence. But having said that, I, as a former police sergeant, police officer, investigator, I believe he's guilty. I cannot, is that me prejudicing you guys? No, that is my perception. You can take your own opinion. And those that wish to disparage me for saying that, you have the right to do that. However, I'm not going to pretend that I don't think he's guilty. I do think he's guilty based on what the prosecutor from California said. Overwhelming evidence. Overwhelming. And we don't even have Pablo Cicada, that's the question, Pablo Cicada asked, and I only got the first sentence of his chat, was what do I think made Kohberger kill 4 people? I can't really answer that, I think that's one for the psychologists, that's one for the behavioral analysts. You'll see you're going to see a lot of them coming on, the talking heads. In fact, I would like to have, and I'm going to ask her very soon, I just don't want to have it too soon, Dr. Joni Johnson, who I love. She's fantastic. She's a behavioral analyst. She's a psychologist. She goes into prisons and interviews serial killers. Lorraine Lawrence, how are you? Schmitty is in the chat. Good to see you. So I would like to have her on again, because you're going to see a lot of people as this case moves forward. Everyone, of course, wants to know motive. What was the motive? But as we know, as dyed-in-the-wool police off-the-cuff aficionados, fans, subscribers, friends, that it is not necessary to prove motive. However, everyone wants to know, what was the motive? Why? The why. Everyone wants to know the why did he do this, And maybe as we look into the background, into his psyche, into who he is, who he became, where he was, what he's done in his life, maybe they'll find the answer, but maybe they won't find the answer till after the trial's over. Because don't forget, no one is going to interview him now except his attorneys. No one wants anything out there. And of course, we spoke, a lot of the things we speak about with this case. Schmitty loves my shirt. Yeah, I had to get a buff shirt, one of these buff NYPD shirts, And I have my Midwest Equus shirt on. I love those people. Dave Rita, right? So they gave me a shirt and this hat. And myself and Duty Run are honorary marshals. Jennifer, thanks for the $2 super stick. I just lost my dad. Can I have some prayers? Yes, Jennifer, I'm sorry about the loss of your dad. We will all pray for you and pray for your dad. Pray that your grief is bearable and not as severe. We all lose loved ones in this life, and part of it is how you deal with it. A big part of it is how you deal with it. And you never forget the person, but you also must always realize that life is for the living, And again, I don't mean any disrespect with that statement. What I mean is you always have to move on, because you got to survive day to day without that loved one, without that person. But we all move on. That's my words of wisdom for today. But yeah, Jennifer, I'm absolutely sorry for your loss. So guys, again, getting back to the old, the Kohberger case again. So all what we're seeing now, I think, is defense strategy. They're planning a defense, of course, for Brian Kohberger. They want to create doubt. Now, I think one of the things that probably should happen in this case, and I'm not saying it will, but perhaps there should be a change of venue in this case. And when I say change of venue, it has to be tried in the state of Idaho. Folks, you can't move it to another state. There's been people that say, oh, they should move it to... You can't do that. It has to be tried within the state of occurrence. In their laws, that's one of the reasons. Their laws, their prosecutors, their state. So they could potentially move it to another town in Idaho, away from Moscow. But is there anyone in the state of Idaho? Is there anyone in the United States? Is there anyone in the world that doesn't know about this case, that hasn't formed an opinion in this case? And one of the things that we spoke about last night, and I'm glad we had the great Mike Geary on. I called him Father Mike last night. He does remind me, he has certain priestly attributes, and I mean that as a compliment. He's very steady. Legal mod, Karen, I actually did make you a mod. If you don't want me to, I could remove you. It was when I had that problem with the computer. People erroneously got taken out of the mods, and I thought that I would add you. I should have obviously mentioned it to you. But if you don't want to be a mod, I could take you out of it. It's up to you. But thank you for mentioning it. And again, my scatterbrainness, I didn't mention it to you. Wendy Croft says her co-workers don't know the case, the BK case. This case has gotten so much, and it continues to get so much press. Angela Donna, she doesn't know if they move her to another town in Idaho. Look, I don't know either, but I think that could be a bone of contention for the defense, that they can't possibly get an impartial jury. And we were talking about that. Andy the Gabby, Cabby's in the house. Andy's doing very well. I see his show is growing. Different audience, I guess, in Great Britain than it is over here, right, Andy? Although you can reach people throughout the world. I love when people from all over the world watch this show, and people from Australia, which, my God, that's really far away, right? Okay, yes, Karen, I will. I'll contact you on Instagram. Yeah, so Andy the Gabby Cabby. If you guys are not subscribed to Andy the Gabby Cabby, he's a great guy. He's got a humorous bent to his show. Please subscribe to Andy the Gabby Cabby. I think you'll like his show. I think it's a little different than ours. His show's a little quicker. We do shows. When I do Coffee with Cannon, I try to keep it 50 minutes, and that's it. I don't like to go past there. But when we do Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories, we've been going an hour 10, hour 15, hour 20. And you don't want to go much past there because, not many people are going to stay the whole time, But sometimes you get in such a good conversation. And that's one of the things you hope. You don't need a jury. I'm sorry, I missed that one. Was that topic going to be that Kohberger, every defendant can choose a trial by jury, or they can choose a trial by judge? I do not see in this case, this defendant, this defense attorney, Ann Taylor, very experienced, apparently an excellent attorney, choosing a trial by judge. I think you're not going to sort of create doubt with a judge. I think the judge is going to see everything scientifically. He's going to see the evidence much clearer than perhaps a juror. And don't forget, a jury of 12, how many do you need for the case to miss trial? 1 not guilty, and the prosecution can retry the case, but it doesn't go forward. The person's not guilty. Michael Allen, Chad Dorman, Ohio, familiar with it, Bill? Mike, I didn't see what you said earlier to know what the question was. The love of God, the defense is also using these motions to try and sway potential jurors, no doubt. I don't know if that, I think that I really believe that the defense is doing all of this right now to stall. I think they are totally not ready. And when they talk about they were supposed to present to the prosecution an alibi if they had one, and in a timely fashion. That was never produced. That was never delivered to the prosecution by the defense. So, Scott Messerschmidt, how are you? Wendy Kraft, Michael, I heard of this yesterday and was going to ask Bill about it. So they could, potentially, again, what we were talking about, could they ask for a judge trial? Yes, they absolutely could. And again, I don't see it. One of the things I wanted to also address, and we didn't get a chance last night. We totally pretty much stayed on that one topic about the moves by the defense and the grand jury, and them challenging the grand jury. And we all spoke and said, we've never ever seen a grand jury, a true bill or an indictment by a grand jury reversed. And because we have never seen it doesn't mean that it can't happen. But I, in my police career, have never seen a grand jury true bill, a vote for an indictment, reversed. And Phil used the famous expression, and I think, it came from, I didn't look it up, but I remembered it. There was a famous Supreme Court judge, his name was Saul Wackler, and he invented that expression. In New York, you can indict a ham sandwich. And so he sort of disparaged the grand jury system by saying it's so easy to get an indictment. And that may not be true. And one of the things we had asked, and I had asked Mike Geary, because he's the lawyer among us, do you think that Ann Taylor, the defense attorney for Brian Kohberger, that she was apprised of the fact that the prosecution was going the route of the grand jury? And he said undoubtedly she knew about it. I mean, she's not allowed to talk about it, but I believe that the prosecution has to give the defense the option to testify. Schmitty, thanks for the $5 super sticker. Sergeant Bill, do you think Kohberger is manipulating those representing surrounding him? I don't think so. I think that I'm sure he's involved in his own defense, but I think that the captain of the defense, the leader of the defense, the supreme commander, if you will, of the defense is Ann Taylor. And let's not forget there's a couple of other prosecutors that she has at her disposal. They also have investigators. Now, they spoke about, on Banfield the other night, Garagos was amazed at how little money they're getting for the defense, because in California, the defense would need millions to come up against a good prosecutorial team. And I think they just recently asked for another $150,000. I mean, think of how fast you can go through $150,000, even for the utilization of private investigators. Most private investigators, I don't know what they get in Ohio. In New York, they're getting, $75 to $150 an hour, Charisma, have a great day. Thank you. Thank you for being a YouTube channel member of Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. Good to see you in the chat. So yeah, so $150,000 of new investigatory money is not a lot of money for the defense. So it's, they're going to continue. The longer this case lasts, the more money that they're going to need for both investigators. How about expert witnesses? You know how many expert witnesses they're going to have to call. The prosecution's going to have their own experts. The defense is going to have experts to thwart the evidence. One thing that I've brought up numerous times, and no one seems to be, at least the broadcast media, no one seems to be talking about it. And to me, it's amazing that no one has brought this up. The autopsies. Do we at all know the scientific results of the autopsies other than the victims were killed by stabbing? Do we know which, on each person, which was the fatal wound? Do we know whether DNA was left by the assailant, by who we think is the assailant, Brian Kohberger? Do we know the results of them scraping underneath the fingernails of the victims? Did they recover DNA? Did they not? Were their hairs and fibers consistent with the defendant in this case found during the autopsies? None of that is out yet. And that potentially is the most powerful evidence that we can see in this whole case. And again, no one in the broadcast media is talking about it. You know what I really get a kick out of in the broadcast media is that it's Schmitty, thank you for stopping by. It's a real pleasure to have you aboard. Michael Allen, low flyers in your neighborhood. Yeah, as I said, Westchester Airport's like 20 minutes away, so they fly right over my house, and it's these small jets that make a lot of noise, you know. It's these billionaire carbon champions that are against anyone producing a lot of carbon except them when they fly their private jets, you know. That's the epitome of hypocrisy. There's so many people that are like, oh, we can't use coal and oil and this and that because it produces carbon, and they're all flying private jets. I give you John Kerry, you know. I give you Al Gore, the carbon champion of the world. They're all flying private jets. I give you all these actors and actresses that are all against carbon. They're driving electric cars, but they're flying privately all over the world. So, you know, please stop it. Anyone out in my audience flying their own private jet? I don't think so. Charisma, good to see you. So yeah, and look, everyone has a level of hypocrisy, you know, but when you throw it in someone's face and then you do the opposite, do as I say, not as I do. Isn't that the truth? Do not burn fossil fuels. And then they're flying private jets. So, okay, let me get off that topic. It gets too crazy. Exeter Line 1930, how many millions do you think this will cost defense prosecution? It's going to cost millions. You're right. You have it right. This trial is going to cost millions. And there is no doubt in my mind that October 2nd is the next court appearance. Do you guys remember that the probable cause hearing? Does anyone in the audience, I'm going to quiz you guys, remember what the date of that was supposed to be? Come on, guys, let me see who the first one is that says what the date of the probable cause hearing was supposed to be. It's not here yet, but it's very close, right? When was the probable cause hearing supposed to be? Where is all my students here? No, so there we go, KH Walker, June 26th. I hope you guys didn't Google it, but right, it was supposed to be June 26th, right? And I believe June 26th, if I'm not incorrect. Karen, you missed it by 3 days. June 26th is the correct date, and I believe June 26th, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, June 26th is a Monday. So they were preparing to do a full week of a probable cause hearing. But guess what? There's no probable cause hearing because of the grand jury indictment. There's no need for a probable cause hearing now. So Bundy data, dyslexia. So there's no need for a probable cause hearing because the grand jury circumvented that, and the secret nature of the grand jury came up with a true bill, which is known as an indictment. And therefore, when is the students, I'm laughing because I don't mean to speak condescendingly, but sometimes when you address like even a class, when you say class, what is the next court appearance date, class? Who's going to know this one right out of the box? The next court appearance is when? Is it? And don't forget, today is June 20th, right? So KH Walker again hits it right on the head, October 2nd. October 2nd, they were told by Judge John Judge. Isn't it interesting that Judge Judge's last name is Judge? Judge John Judge, that to be ready for trial on October 2nd. Does anyone believe that the case is going to go to trial on October 2nd? I certainly don't. I think that they have to answer ready and they have to show up in court, and then there'll be so many procedural issues. There'll be the defense pointing fingers at the prosecution. There'll be the prosecution pointing at the defense. You know, when I read some of the criminal procedure law of the state of Idaho, the big thing that the defense has been harping on right now is discovery material. And one of the things that it said, and the language that it used, Chef Lady says she didn't study for a test today. That's okay. You don't, there's no grades. You can go home. Everyone gets a prize. Everyone gets a trophy, right? So whether you answered those two questions right or wrong, K.H. Walker gets the biggest trophy, right? She answered both correctly. Marilyn Manette, I tried starting my own cooking channel on YouTube. It's a lot of work, too much work for me these days. Guys, you have no idea how much work this is. But it has to be a labor of love. If you don't love doing it, don't even try it, because it is, and it gets addicting, where you want to be on the air all the time, but then you can't come on the air just because you want to be on the air. You have to prep. You have to prepare to be on the air, right? You can't just go on the air and say, oh, hi, everyone. This is Coffee with Cannon. Although you guys probably think I do that, but these are easier shows for me because I don't have to prep as much and I can have a conversation with you guys. That's an amazing talent too. And I don't mean to tap myself on the back, but when I first started doing this and I used to watch Duty Run, I was like, how does he talk for a half hour, 45 minutes with his audience? That's really hard to do. How does he do that? Half hour or 20 minutes, I used to think. And then when I first started doing it, Measy Mom, you're doing an excellent job of keeping us entertained and informed. Thank you very much. I absolutely appreciate that. I used to think, oh my God, how come I talk to a group for 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Wow, how could you do that? That's really hard to do. You got to run out of material all the time. And then I started doing 15, 20, then I would do a half hour. Then I did 45, and I was able to do, I could do much longer than that if I needed to, but I think that the attention span when I do these Coffee with Cannons, my live chat is off with Bill speaking right now. Grr, Andy Kraft, I'm sorry that your live chat went off, but you can always listen. Yeah, it's it's talking and communicating. Lovebug53, I want to be a mod, Bill. I highly respect you. Well, I got to look into it. I may have enough mods now. I also don't want to have too many mods because there's a real criteria for... There was someone last night in the chat that I actually blocked, and someone kept writing ACAB, A-C-A-B in capital letters. And I would think most of you guys know that that means all cops are bastards. So I immediately blocked that guy, and I saw him first, and he was jettisoned out of the chat. And I don't know, he was writing some other disparaging stuff too, but I got rid of him rather quickly. He was he was jettisoned. 123 in the chat, 107 with the thumbs up. This is Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. Coffee with Cannon, Backyard Beverage, Bitchin' with Bill, Coffee, Cuffs, Crime and Cannon. I think that was something close to it. If you're not subscribed, go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell, make comments, be in the chat, join us, join the Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories family, friends, subscribers. We love to have you guys here. And as I said, I'm about, I don't know, 5 and change shy, 560 maybe, shy of 50,000. And it seems like I've been talking about that for a long time. It's taken me a long time. I had that, it was on the horizon. The sun was there. 50,000 was near, and it's taken me a while to reach it now. Sometimes you get frozen at a certain number, but hey, look, it's happening. I'm not all about numbers, right? But it's great to be successful. H. Cook, give negativity the boot, sir. Looks like a beautiful day where you are. Yeah, it is a beautiful day today. Rita, I love to listen to you talk. Bill, thank you so much. Oh, geez, me and Pete have same mind, married too long. Well, Richella, it's true. When you're married for a long time, you start answering each other's questions, or both giving the same answers when someone asks you a question. Because I noticed that when even in the police department, partners would finish each other's sentences. Because Linda, hi, Sergeant Bill, sing us a song. That's correct, right, Lieutenant Pete? Partners, you would finish each other's sentences because you got so used to each other. You were with each other more often than anyone else. You know, one of the things like I just like to say is that when you're like an anti-crime cop or street crime cop or even a sector car, your office is a car. Just think of that, your office being a car. And being in a car for 8-10 hours out of your tour. And in the wintertime, and Lieutenant Pete can attest to this, you would always get badly chapped lips because you were in a car and the heater was blasting. And you'd always have to have one of those Vaseline things to put on your lips because they get chapped all the time. And in the summer, hopefully your AC was working, or it would be really torturous to be in a car. And then hopefully you make a collar and you get the hell out of the car and you get into the air-conditioned precinct to process your arrest. But Lieutenant Pete can attest to all of this stuff. Chapped lips in the winter and sometimes sweating when the AC didn't work in the summer. And just being in a car for that long isn't really the same kind of an office as most people have, right? It's the police office. And we got used to it after a while, right? Bundy data, remember the missing month, that will help. That and the DNA. So guys, another thing I just mentioned quickly with the Kohberger case is the gag order. We're all waiting to see what this judge is going to decide in regards to the Lieutenant Pete, you hit it on the head, cops that smoke cigarettes. And back in the day, more cops smoked than didn't, right? Now, very few cops smoke. I think cops have gotten the message. When I came on the job and Lieutenant Pete came on the job, a lot of cops got severely out of shape. There was a lot of obese cops. They lived unhealthy lives, smoked cigarettes, ate all the wrong food. We would call a lot of the food we ate cop food, Chinese food, pizza, cheeseburgers, stuff like that, things that had high amounts of fat because, you know, you had to get through these long tours, you know. And but now I think most cops, and from what I observe, try to stay in shape because they understand that it's a stressful job. And if you smoke and don't live a healthy lifestyle, it's going to shorten your life. Back in the day when Lieutenant Pete came on the job, the average lifespan for a cop after he retired, after 20 years or 25 years, was like 6 years. It may even be less. 6 years they would live. So they were dying very quickly after they retired. No longer. Cops stay in shape. Look, I already been out 12 years. I want to bankrupt New York City by collecting my pension so long that they can't afford to pay me anymore. And so Lieutenant Pete, you know, I used to be the joke, bankrupt the city, collect that pension till you're 120, you know. And no one would like that more as long as you're a healthy 120. Sort of tough to be a healthy 120. Although you see people living past 100. Lots of people living into the 90s these days, right? But amazing. Marilyn Manette, everyone is healthy these days, more health conscious. You're right, Marilyn, and that's a good thing, right? I think we have to do a preemptive strike on our health. And by what I mean with that is to try to stay healthy by doing things that keep you healthy. Exercise, eating the right food, watching your diet, not getting overweight, you know, if you can help it. It seems like most of us are overweight. I could lose 20 pounds, although I lost 6 so far. Alan Levine says he's out 29 years this August. God bless you. 29 years, wow. I'm out 12, October 31st of this year. Is that unbelievable? 12 years, it went by so fast. 12 years out, and I did nearly 27, just under 27. I always say 27, I round it off. But yeah, you want to stay healthy, you want to collect that pension forever. You want to live to see your grandchildren. You want to enjoy your grandchildren. You want to enjoy your children. Lieutenant Pete's been out 34 years. Oh my God. And to think I know you, Lieutenant Pete, from 1988. Wow. That's unbelievable. And he's been out 34 years. Incredible. You know, and one thing, ask Lieutenant Pete, the city's never missed a pension check. They never missed one. So in that way, they're pretty damn reliable, right, Lieutenant Pete? So yeah, Lorraine Lawrence, yeah, cops didn't take care of themselves back in the day, and they didn't live very long, and they gave horrible financial advice too. When we first came on the job, there was this thing we used to be able to borrow from our pension, and it used to be a pension loan, and you were eligible for a pension loan every 6 months. However, it was the worst advice on earth to take a pension loan because your pension was subject to 8.5%, I believe it was 8.5% interest. So when you took the money or monies out of your pension to borrow it, it wasn't collecting interest. It wasn't growing. So these old-time cops were saying, take a pension loan, kid, every 6 months. It's your money. It was the worst advice they could have possibly given you. But everyone listened to them because they were veteran cops. They were, they knew what time it was, And the truth was, did you know Detective Gannon worked in the Bronx homicide in the late 80s, early 90s? I did not. I worked in Manhattan North. Other than working in street crime for 1 year, I worked in Manhattan North my entire career. That doesn't mean we didn't touch base or we didn't have things in common or work with people from the Bronx or Brooklyn or Queens. We would, but we didn't on a regular basis, for example, work in the Bronx. Our cases might bring us to the Bronx, bring us to Brooklyn, bring us to Queens, bring us to Staten Island, God forbid. Just driving there is enough to lose years on your life. But no, I didn't know him, Detective Gannon. That's the famous name, Sergeant Bill Gannon from Dragnet, if you remember. Some people used to call me Gannon. But yeah, Sergeant Bill Gannon from Dragnet. Remember those guys? They were fantastic. Pauline Robb, my dad's 89. He's like a bull and sharp like a whistle. God bless him. That's another thing. You got to keep your mind occupied. Keep learning new things. Read. Play an instrument. Sing. Have hobbies. Do things that are healthy to keep you occupied. You don't want to sit around just in front of that boob tube with the clicker, right? Yeah, it's important. All these things, look, I don't think I'm teaching you guys anything you don't already know, but it's important to, we're at 48 minutes, guys. This is Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories, Backyard Beverage, Bitchin' with Bill, Coffee with Cannon, Coffee, Cuffs, Crime, and Cannon. There's a million names to this show. And I want to thank everyone for coming by today. I haven't done a Coffee with Cannon in a little bit. And it's always fun. It's a little different for me to do these Coffee with Cannon shows as compared to doing Police Off the Cuff, which takes a hell of a lot more preparation, more study, and more, if I want to get Phil or Mike Geary to do the show with me, sometimes I call them hours before, and Mike Geary is like Johnny on the spot. Yeah, I'm ready. It's amazing. Thanks, Lieutenant Pete, and you and Richella. Always great to have you guys in the chat. Two of our biggest fans, our biggest supporters, Lieutenant Pete and Richella Pranzo. They're enjoying their life. They're the model of what I want to be if I get a little bit older. You're not that much older than me, but you guys are a model of healthy living and happy people, and I don't say that lightly. I think that's important. That's the most important thing for your mental health, to be happy, to be healthy, and to do things that make you happy and keep you healthy. Michelina Serino, great to see you. All those hearts. Cheryl, thank you guys. We're at 49 minutes 36 seconds, so I'm going to start saying goodbye. Again, thank you everyone that came by today. I thought it was interesting. It goes by so fast. 50 minutes. We're almost done. So I got to move up to prepare to shut this off and say goodbye. Have a great day, everyone. Again, Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories, Coffee with Cannon. Have a great day.